Yeah, it's a nice night here in Seattle to be dining downtown in the Space Needle, but it's even a better night to be at Safeco Field for the second game of the three-game series between the Mariners and the New York Mets, and we're going to have close to a sellout here this evening on this beautiful Saturday night. To you all, welcome to Mariners Baseball. One more time, I'm Dave Niehaus, along with Ron Fairley. Now, you know who's pitching tonight for the New York Mets. You know his name is Pedro Martinez, and when I show you these numbers, you might ask, why even play the game? Look at this, 13-0 against the Mariners in his career. Look at the strikeouts, the walks. Last May the 28th, however, the Mariners did score 4 runs against him. And on May the 8th, 2002, he became only one of 2 pitchers in Major League history to strike out this side in the first inning on 9 pitches. The other one, my partner Ron Fairley's teammate, Sandy Koufax. Why even go out there tonight?
Well, I tell you what, if you're going to try to beat Pedro Martinez, first of all, he has 4 pitches, and every one of them are what they refer to as out pitches, meaning he can get you out with any one of those 4. Well, don't let him get you out with all 4 of them. Pick 1 or 2 of them. And then if you get 1 or 2 of those pitches, you better hit it, because you're not going to get that pitch again.
Yeah. I'll tell you how to beat Pedro Martinez. That's have Pedro Martinez throw 95 to 100 pitches, get him out of there in the 6th inning or the 7th inning, and go to the bullpen and try to beat the bullpen. That's the way you beat Pedro Martinez, to tell you the truth. Now, he's going to be opposed by Ryan Franklin, a guy that doesn't get any support. You know that. The numbers are going to roll over his way pretty soon. Why not tonight?
Yeah, one of these nights the Mariners are going to jump up and they're going to score some runs. Why not tonight? Ryan Franklin has not had any run support. In fact, in his 8 losses, they've scored a total of just 6 runs while Ryan has been out there on the mound. That's not very good at all.
So the Mariners and the New York Mets, and what a beautiful night we have. And that's where the Mariners would like to have Pedro Martinez on the Norwegian Spirit, headed north to Alaska. He's not. He's right here to pitch tonight. Back with the starting lineups right after this timeout. Now the Mariners taking the field, and the folks getting off that ferry, hopefully going to be here by the time, well, with 1 out of the first inning. We're about set to get underway here at Safeco Field tonight. And it's a jump in place tonight, the Mariners and the Mets. And let's look at the starting lineups, Mr. Fairley.
Ah, yes, indeed. A beautiful night here at Safeco Field. Here's the Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the New York Mets. It'll be Anderson, Reyes, Beltran, Floyd, Piazza, Dahlbach, Wright, Mankiewicz, and then Diaz. Ryan Franklin out there on the mound. Ryan Franklin, well, he needs to keep the ball down, you know that, and use the big part of the ballpark if he's going to be pitching up in the strike zone. And yes, indeed, how about scoring some runs for Ryan Franklin in this evening's game? Defensively, it'll be Wynn, Reed, and Ichiro in the outfield. Hanson, Morse, Lopez, and Sexton around the infield. Borders behind the plate. And Ryan Franklin, making his 13th start of the year, has a record of 2-8 with an ERA at 4.81. And his last outing, as you look at his season numbers, he lost to the Washington Nationals 3-2 back there in our nation's capital. And once again, not any run support. He threw 83 pitches. In fact, the last win for Ryan Franklin, you have to go back to May the 8th at Boston when he won that ball game. And against the New York Mets, he's had 1 career start. His record is 0-1.
So Frankie will be working to Marlon Anderson, Jose Reyes, and Carlos Beltran. As you have a look at this big crowd here tonight, we're going to have, by the time everybody gets in, and they may be holding the start of this game up just a couple of minutes, allowing more people to get in, we're going to have probably close to 45,000 sellout here this evening. With one more game to go tomorrow afternoon, when Gil Nash will face another guy that'll probably be in the Hall of Fame, left-hander Tom Glavine. We're set to go, and here comes Marlon Anderson up to the plate to lead it off. Anderson came up as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning last night, was called out by home plate umpire Dan Ayasanga, and then called out of the ball game. He turned around and gave him a blast, and he was gone before you could say Jack Robinson. So he's back in the lineup leading it off tonight. Marlon Anderson hitting .319 last year with the Cardinals, and the first pitch is high, and we are underway. The umpires. That's Dale Scott calling balls and strikes. Tim Sheet at first. Ron Kulp at second. Daniel Sanga is around at third. There is a strike called by the Portland native, Dale Scott. 68 degrees at game time. The wind out of the north at 4 miles an hour. 2-1 the count. The Mariners have won 5 of their last 6 series, and of course on this homestand they are 3-1 now. Popped him up and into the upper deck behind home plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Time called by Marlon Anderson, and he steps away. The Angels have already won today. They knocked off the Florida Marlins in a day game. The Athletics have already won today. They beat the Phillies in a day game 2-1. High pop up, foul territory, and Dave Hansen is there to make the catch. And the other team in the American League West, the Texas Rangers, look like they are going to win tonight because they're leading the Washington Nationals 7-1. So far it's been an all AL West winners party today.
Well, Mariners like to round out the party and win tonight's ball game, and once again win another series.
I'll tell you, don't look now, but who's hot? The New York Yankees. They beat the Cubs. They've won 5 in a row. Jose Reyes is the switch hitter, and he takes down low and inside ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Franklin's got to keep the ball in the ballpark. He's given up 14 home runs this year. Right on the corner. And a bunt down the third baseline. Hansen was waiting on it. He was in on the grass to begin with, and he only has to take 3 or 4 steps down to field it. Bunted too hard.
Sometimes if the batter tips that he's going to be bunting a little bit too soon, allows the third baseman to come in and really get a good jump on it. You can see already Hansen coming in. And then, as you pointed out, the ball bunted a little bit too firmly, and thereby making it a very easy out.
So here's last year's top free agent, Carlos Beltran, hitting .274. Taking strike 1. Beltran 3 for 13 against Ryan Franklin. And that just misses away a ball and a strike. Boy, badly fooled, and that straight changed. That was well out of the strike zone.
Kind of looks like Beltran made up his mind he was going to swing at that pitch and did.
Knocked him off the plate with a fastball. Not a bad idea. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Richie Sexton waves away Ryan Franklin, takes it to the bag himself, and a fine first inning for Ryan Franklin. Half an inning of play in the books. We'll head to the bottom of the first after this word from Southwest Airlines.
Ryan Franklin had no problem in the top half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Mariners Southwest Airlines starting lineup. It'll be Ichiro, Wynn, Ibanez, Sexton, Lopez, Reed, Morse, Hansen, and then Borders. And for Pedro Martinez, yeah, he has 4 out pitches. We mentioned that earlier. Fastball, curveball, a cutter, and a changeup. Leads the National League in strikeouts with 107. And at Safeco Field, ouch, 6-0 with an ERA of under 1, 0.77. Defensively, it'll be Floyd, Beltran, and Diaz in the outfield. Wright, Reyes, Anderson, Mankiewicz at first base. Mike Piazza behind the plate, not there on the mound. Pedro Martinez. This is his 334th career start, a lifetime mark of 187 and 77 as you look at his season numbers.
So truly one of the greats. And the first pitch at the knees, the fastball. Ichiro's led off the last 4 games with a base hit. And that's away. Pedro, when he first started, was a flamethrower. I mean, 96, 97 miles an hour. He no longer throws that hard. But his out pitch, his devastating pitch, is that one right there. That great straight change. But that was low. Fabulous changeup. And a towering pop-up. Going out, calling the second baseman. And it looked for a moment like Marlon Anderson said, I don't see it, but then he did.
Well, either that or he's trying to let the outfielder coming in, Diaz, behind him, let him know that he was going to take that pop-up. But somewhere between there, that might have been the case. Pedro has won his last 5 decisions. Most recently, outing, he did not have a decision against the Angels.
One of the few Mariners that has had pretty good success against Pedro Martinez, Randy Wynn. Got a .304 lifetime batting average against Pedro. Martinez signed that 4-year, $53 million deal as a free agent. That's into the gap, but a lot of air under it. And that ball is going to be on one hop back into the stands for a ground rule double. Carlos Beltran, no way he's going to get to it. For a moment, I thought it was going to go. It bounced on the track and bounced over for the ground rule double.
Randy Wynn takes one of the fastballs from Pedro Martinez, puts a pretty good charge in it. I thought when he first hit it, that had a chance to leave the yard. But nevertheless, Mariners have a runner down there in scoring position. That's one of the things that's going to help them tonight if they're going to win this game. They hit a little bit better when they do get men in scoring position.
So here is Ibanez now. And takes it down low. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Last May the 28th at Fenway, the Mariners looked like they had a great shot at beating Pedro Martinez. They took a 4-1 lead in a game. And the Mariners let them get away. Let it get away. Joel Pinheiro started that ball game. They ended up losing it 8-4. You consider that Pedro Martinez has given up a grand total of only 14 runs against the Mariners in his career. And a change and a ground ball off the glove of Pedro. That's going to go as an infield base hit. And down to third base goes Randy Wynn. Pedro didn't know where it was. And the Mariners now have an excellent opportunity as Big Richie Sexson steps up to the plate.
I think Pedro thought he caught the ball. He looked at his glove and then didn't know where it was. It was behind him.
So here is Sexson, who was out here taking a lot of extra batting practice this afternoon. And Sexson is a guy that has had no luck, none against Pedro. He's 0 for 11 against Pedro Martinez. Fastball buried right down the heart of the plate. 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Not going to see a better pitch than that. Swing at it.
Although Pedro does not run it up there at 96, 97 consistently like he used to. But he still gets it up there in the 90s, sometimes in the mid-90s. But he doesn't do it very often.
Way outside with that slider. And a change right there. Floats over the out of the plate at 78 miles an hour.
We said he has 4 pitches. A fastball, curveball, a cutter that he uses to a lot of the left-hand hitters. And that wicked changeup.
Strike 3 called at the knees, and Sexson is all over the home plate umpire, Dale Scott. Sexton's been striking out a lot lately, and he's gone. Scott's had enough, and Sexton throws his batting helmet. So Richie Sexson gets thrown out of here in the first inning by a Portland native, by Dale Scott, and he's gone. So Mike Hargrove, hands folded across his chest, is also thrown out.
Now, there goes the skipper, too.
Wow. What a start. What a start. Both Sexton, as he's called out on strikes, and the skipper, Hargrove, thrown out. Here comes a bucket of balls out on the grass. Down the first baseline. Sexton, I'm sure, probably threw those. But he's ejected. And will have to be replaced at first base. Sexton and Hargrove both gone, and Hargrove is going to get his money's worth. And Dale Scott and Hargrove seem to be having a fairly civil argument after he's already been ejected. Tim Sheeta is in to protect, of course, his man, his colleague, Mr. Scott there. But the deed has been done. The ejections have been made. And we will not see Hargrove the rest of the night. We will not see Sexton the rest of the night. We get another shot at that pitch. Let's look at the pitch.
Take a look at that pitch for Richie Sexton. Mighty close. A little tough to tell, but I think it all started with the first pitch of the game to Ichiro that may have gotten the attention of Mike Hargrove. Here's the pitch to Ichiro. And that one looked low. Even Ichiro turned around, and he rarely says anything.
So here is Jeremy Reed now. Reed 0 for his last 9. And the first time he has faced Pedro, and Pedro's going to get out of it as Reed first ball swings and rolls it right to second base. So what a revolting development the first inning has been for the Mariners, thanks to that man right there. Pedro gets out of it, 2 are left, and we have no score after 1. So no score, but a lot of fireworks in the first inning with both the Mariners' first baseman and manager ejected by Dale Scott. So you have to have some defensive replacements. To wit, the Mariners have moved Dave Hansen from third base to first base, and they have called Willie Bloomquist off the bench to go over to third base. So Ron Hasse, the bench coach, who is behind strike on the inside corner behind Jeff there, is running the ball club. There he is. There's Ron Hasse, the bench coach, running the ball club. Cliff Floyd is the hitter, and he has taken his strike. And a one-hopper hit to the kid Lopez. So Jose throws him out. And Mike Piazza, the catcher, will be the hitter. Lopez being given his first of several starts at second base, as Brett Boone is going to be given 4, 5, maybe even as many as 6 days off. Hargrove in his pregame radio chat with me indicated that Boone would probably be given the rest of the homestand off, and with this game and a game tomorrow against the Mets and 4 against Oakland, that would stretch out to a half a dozen games.
Yeah, and you know what? Booney's too good of a hitter. He really is, to have this thing get him down, and he's going to work it out. But Booney's the guy that's going to have to do it. Like I said, he's too good of a hitter to have this go on much longer.
2-0 on Mike Piazza.
I think what Mike Hargrove is a good idea. Just tell Mooney, go down that batting cage, work with Don Baylor, figure it out. Don't care what you do, figure it out, and get your stroke back and get it going again.
Came right after him. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Same pitch, 92-mile-an-hour fastball. So Mr. Hasse is running the show right now. Backing out of play again. Good to see Tom Seaver here, Hall of Famer. Author of 311 wins in a Hall of Fame career.
There he is.
With the Mets and the Reds and the White Sox. Does the games on the weekends.
3-time Cy Young Award winner. Ended up with over 3,600 strikeouts. 4th in the all-time strikeout list. He could bring it up there with the best of them. Author of a no-hitter. 311 wins. Wow.
And Piazza is on his way to first base. After having him 0-2, he walks him. I always remember Seaver for the drive that he had in his leg and for that dirty right kneecap that he had all the time.
Dave, there are two pitchers that talk about getting a good push off the mound and using their legs probably more efficiently than anyone I've seen, period. Would be Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver. And I don't know which one, you know, which name goes first, whether it's Seaver, Ryan, Seaver. Doesn't make any difference. But he'd drop down and push off that mound, and good golly, did he have a good fastball.
Fly ball to left field, and a little bit of a late start, but not too late. Randy Wynn makes the easy catch. A Dahlbach's pop up in left field, and David Wright will be the hitter. In today's game, we're participating in the home run challenge, where every home run raises $30,000 for prostate cancer research, and you can make a pledge by calling 1-800-798-CURE. Over $2 million has been raised since the 8th of June. Every home run worth $30,000. Here's David Wright. Down low to him, ball one. Wright pulling off that pitch a little bit.
Had 3 hits in the game last night. Wright has raised his average the last month from 248 up to 298.
Slider away. And chopped at that. I'd stay with that breaking ball.
Did not have a good swing at that breaking ball. That slider looked like his pockets were going toward the Mets dugout.
Same pitch, didn't offer at it, however.
Well, he was streaking right along with you. Go ahead and stay with that pitch.
So Hansen waving his hand, saying I'm playing behind him. Now he's going to be going here. Piazza. And the 3-2 delivery on the way. High, and he's giving up walks to Piazza, and now Wright. And now he has to face a tough left-handed batter to my way of thinking. Now the average doesn't show that. Doug Mankiewicz is only hitting .208. But when he was with the Twins, and to some extent the Red Sox, but more with the Twins, he used to wear out the Mariners.
Well, I think he got so many key hits against the Mariners. I don't know whether his average was so high, but I agree with you, Dave. I mean, it seemed like you say you need to get this guy out to get out of the inning, and he ends up getting a base hit somewhere. So he did hurt the Mariners.
Mankiewicz's name should be part of the National Spelling Bee. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Look at that.
You know, well, there it is. Mankiewicz. You can practice that and still miss it.
Change high, and all of a sudden Frankie can't find the strike zone. 2-0.
I know when I write his name down on the scorecard, it is not the way he spells it. Time called now as Brian Price wants to come out. Do it phonetically so he can pronounce his name right.
Mientkiewicz.
Mankiewicz.
You are correct. Wait for the next round.
20 pitches thrown by Ryan as the home plate umpire is going to come out. Sometimes the pitching coach may go out there and wait for the umpire to come out and then complain about the strike zone, but that was not the case there. If you argue balls and strikes, it's an automatically being ejected from the game.
There's a strike.
You know, a lot of times pitching coaches will come out in a situation like that and they say, now listen, Ryan, concentrate on the hitter. That's the guy who can hurt you right now, and pick your target up a little sooner. Quit looking at that guy back there at second base so long. Pick your target up a little sooner.
Strike on the breaking ball. 2-2. Line, that's fair down the left field line, and that's just what I was talking about. Even with 2 strikes on him, throw to third base, the tag there, head to third base is run.
Run doesn't count. Run does not count.
The run does not count. They got the runner because before the run scored. Wow, the Mariners get a tremendous break. Have a look at it. Here comes the runner. There's the throw. Out is made before Mike Piazza hits the plate. Piazza was just kind of coming in, lollygagging a little bit, and it cost the Mets a run. They end up not scoring, so still no score. Let's have a look at that play one more time with Mankiewicz at the plate and 2 strikes on him. Watch Piazza run as the ball is hit down the left field line. It catches the stands where they jut out. Wynn immediately gets on it, throws it to third. Piazza is late at the station because the out is made over third base on David Wright before he got to home plate. Here it is right here. There's the throw to third. Out at third. He's still a step away from the plate.
And you have to give credit to the home plate umpire, Dale Scott, for making a very alert call.
Jose Lopez takes high, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes to count. At the knees, 1-2.
This has not been an ordinary game. I mean, your home run hitter has been ejected in the first inning. Your manager's gone. The Mets get a double with runners at first and second, and they don't score. Game off to a little bit of an unusual start.
Curveball that time. And the young Venezuelan fouls off the pitch.
Ordinarily, you have a clubhouse meeting and you go over a pitcher like Pedro Martinez, but there are so many young players in the lineup, don't tell them anything. Just go up there and hit.
Curveball hit right to right, and right's throw in time as Mankiewicz was backing away off the bag at first. Michael Morris brings that .413 batting average to the plate. Takes a strike on one. A little bit of a different arm angle for Mr. Morris's consideration there. About 3/4. Good eye. And that curve, man, it had him wobbly kneed. He laid off of it.
And with that last pitch, I think a couple of people in the Mets dugout are saying, where was it? It wasn't too high. So regardless of what Dale Scott calls, you either have one dugout or the other hollering at you.
And that got it. An 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Pedro's second strikeout.
Look at that last fastball that looked like he threw it right on by Morris that time. That's what that breaking ball and the changeup can do to set up that fastball.
And here's a guy that took a 101-mile Billy Wagner fastball right back up the middle. And then he says, how can I strike out on an 89-mile-an-hour fastball?
Hansen really hit the ball well in batting practice today. He's hitting line drive after line drive. Had a good day in the cage. See if he can carry that into the game. Change up. Took something off that fastball. Just enough. Pedro will give you different arm angles, and he'll change speeds off of every one of the pitches that he has.
And there's a soft little looper into left field. Stayed back on it and dropped it into left field for a base hit.
Look at that nice little swing. Almost tried to hold up a little bit. That was more like an Ichiro swing. Nice and easy stroke, taking it the other way.
Borders looks at one right on the block. Same spot. Chopper down the third baseline. Pedro barehands the ball and snap throws and gets him at first base here in the second. A hit by Hansen, but he is left, and after 2, no score. No score as we move to the third inning of play on a delightful Saturday night here in the Northwest. A great deal coming up for the whole family. All few reserved seats are just $10 this Monday night. The Oakland A's will be here at 7:05. The ECU Family Nights are the perfect opportunity to bring your entire family to Safeco Field. For tickets, visit SeattleMariners.com. I'm Dave Niehaus, along with Ron Fairley, watching what we expected and is turning out to be a pitching duel between Pedro Martinez and Ryan Franklin, and Victor Diaz will lead it off, taking a strike. If you just joined us, the Mariners lost their manager and their first baseman in the first inning. Both ejected. There's a line drive to center field, base hit by Victor Diaz. And back to the top of the order for Marlon Anderson. Richie Sexton, as he was called out by Dale Scott, got right in Scott's face, and Scott ejected him, and then the skipper came out a little bit too late to save him, and he was thrown out. And Ron Hassey running the ball club. Nice curveball for a strike on 1. Dave Hansen rolling with the punches, so to speak, down to get that.
When pitchers try to make too fine of a throw over to first base, they sometimes throw it too far into the runner, and it makes it a very difficult play for the first baseman, especially if you're right-handed. Left-handed might be a little bit easier.
Great breaking ball that time to Marlon Anderson, and it's 2 strikes. The Angels today beating Florida in 10, 2-1. Both runs, and this is how much they missed Vladimir Guerrero when he was out on the DL with that bad shoulder. Both runs, solo home runs by Vladimir Guerrero.
Big guy can carry the ball club.
Up the middle. And a good play at the relay to first, not quite in time. Heck of a play by Morse. And a good throw by Lopez, too.
Look at that play. Would that have been some kind of double play? Good play by Morse. There's the throw.
Barehand pick.
Barehand. Looked like the throw was just a little bit high that pulled Hansen off the bag. You have the first base umpire, Tim Sheeta, right on top of it, saying, yep, kind of came off the bag, did he? Ooh. Either that or he just beat it.
Well, you kind of wonder what 6 feet 8 inches might have done over there, being able to reach out and get the ball a little quicker, huh?
Yeah, well, you never know, but a good play And you can see the throw by Lopez. Kind of looked like, well, maybe he just beat the throw. But you do have to kind of scratch your head and say, I wonder.
Here's Reyes. With a count, 2 strikes on him now. Boy, Frankie's got a great breaking ball tonight. A great changeup and a great breaking ball.
From game to game, it changes.
There's the fastball.
There are times when your fastball is your best pitch. Other times it might be your slider or curveball or changeup. Tonight, Frankie's got a good off-speed pitch.
There he goes, and the pitch is outside. Throw through at a hop. No way. So Marlon Anderson, his first stolen base.
Excellent jump that time by Anderson. There was nothing that Borders could do. Tried to get rid of it as quickly as he could. Couldn't get a good grip on the ball and really didn't have much on the throw. But Anderson had such a good jump. I don't think anybody's going to throw him out.
Fastball and a high pop-up. Randy Wynn, the second out. And that'll bring up the dangerous Carlos Beltran.
Well, you're going to be facing 2 left-hand batters. Beltran, of course, a switch hitter, then Floyd, the left-hander. Which one would you rather pitch to here? You have first base open.
Pulled right to good play by Hansen. That took a wicked hop. Took it right off his left shoulder. Stayed with it. That ball had trouble all over it. Couldn't get it up down the right field corner. Good play by Dave Hansen. And the side is out. That's the Mariners. Still no score.
No score as we go to the Mariners' half of the third inning. Several years ago, when Pedro Martinez was still with the Los Angeles Dodgers, he did something that would tip the pitches. And we'll get to that as Ichiro stands in. And what he was doing, he used to take his finger, the index finger, and he had it outside the glove. And when he threw a fastball, this finger would stick out. And when he threw the curveball, there's strike one to Ichiro. When he threw the curveball, the finger was next to the glove like this. So it's either fastball, curveball. And that hurt Pedro Martinez. They ended up trading him to the Montreal Expos, and then became the Pedro Martinez that we know about, the great pitcher, and he ends up winning all those Cy Young. Now, there are several ways that pitchers can give away their pitches. For an example, sometimes when you see a pitcher wind up and you can see the wrist down here, fastball, curveball, fastball, curveball. They put the ball too far up into the glove. There have been some pitchers from the stretch position, as Ichiro fouls another one away. They come set. Fastball, curveball. They come set in 2 different places. And so hitters will pick that up and they know what's coming. Now, if you look at Pedro, we'll get a shot of him, and I guarantee you that finger is not sticking out anymore.
2 strikes the count on Ichiro, leading off the bottom half of the third inning.
You see, there it is. It's not sticking out anymore.
Down low to Ichiro. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And yet there are some hitters, I think you will agree, who would prefer not to know what's coming.
I don't compute on that one. And I know we've talked to them, yeah, and then they say they don't want to know. Yeah. And yet I don't understand that. It's a little tough to get fooled if you know what's coming.
Curveball. So 1 away. As Marlon Anderson throws out each your own. Randy Wynn, who had the ground rule double, it bounced over the center field fence, will be the hitter.
It's funny because I mentioned that same story to Tom Seaver before the game. And he says, you want to know something? I did the same thing. So it's something that's just not Pedro. There's a lot of guys that have done that. And that Hall of Fame pitcher right there said when he was starting his career, he did the very same thing.
Randy Wynn looks at his strike. Easy play again for Marlon Anderson. A couple of worm killers here. 2 down, and Raul Ibanez, who had the base hit off the glove of Pedro, will be the hitter.
Like so many really good pitchers, great pitchers, if you're going to score, you better do it early in the game, because as the game moves along, they get tougher.
Everything else in baseball is over. We're going it alone here tonight. And moving fastball coming back over the plate. Curveball laced into right field for a base hit. Went down and got it.
Nice bit of hitting that time by Ibanez on a 1-2 count. Being able to go down there and hit it sharply right on by of Mankiewicz. That was down low and inside. That was a good pitch. That was a good breaking ball.
Nasty curveball. Well, there's Bloomquist up for his first at bat. Willie, of course, in the number 4 hole after Richie Sexton was ejected in the first. The lot side to Willie, ball 1. Ball, 1 strike. Pedro looking for his 190th major league victory. Into the stands, and ball 2 strikes.
May have cracked the handle that time. You look at Pedro, he's won 189 games. He's lost 77. He has won 112 more games than he has lost. He has struck out 10 or more in a game 103 times. And the guy that holds the record for that is Nolan Ryan, who did it 215 times. Randy Johnson has done it 205 times. Roger Clemens 109 times. And Pedro is 4th. 103 times he struck out 10 or more in the game.
And the runner goes. The pitch is down low. Strike 3, I beg your pardon. The late call by Dale Scott. And down on strikes is Willie Bloomquist. And that's strikeout number 3 for Pedro here tonight. So we'll go to the 4th with Floyd, Piazza, and Dahlbach due up. No score. Delighted to have you with us here in the Pacific Northwest and around the world tonight as we are on Armed Forces television service. And, of course, me being an alumnus of that great organization, I hope that men and women in uniform around the world, and particularly in the Middle East and in Afghanistan, are enjoying our telecast from Safeco Field in Seattle tonight. We have no score as Cliff Floyd leads it off here in the 4th inning. Floyd pulls it into the corner down the right field line, and that is a fair ball. Ichiro gets it, and after seeing right in front of him where Ichiro has it, Floyd says, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'll stop right here." Almost fell backwards in stopping, as a matter of fact.
Well, that ball hit the very bottom of the fence right around the concrete area, and it caromed right back to Ichiro. And I'll guarantee you, he had no chance to go to second base as Ichiro quickly pounced on it and fired it back to the infield. That's a wise move by Floyd.
So Piazza is the hitter now. Mike, after having a quick 2 strikes on him in the 2nd inning, ended up earning a walk from Ryan Franklin. And pulled and backhanded at third to throw to second for 1. Throw to first, not quite in time. That again would have been an incredibly spectacular double play had they pulled it off. Great play by Bloomquist, who receives a standing ovation. They almost got 2 out of it.
I thought it was a heck of a play just to get 1. Look at it again. Big chopper to third base. Off balance throw back to second base. Accurate enough for Lopez to try to make the double play. Almost turned it.
So Piazza bangs into a force out, and here is Daubach. The strike at the knees.
Well, we saw that Mike Morse make a good play back at second base. How about this one by Willie Bloomquist? Bloomquist is the kind of guy that plays a lot of different positions for you. He can play in the outfield, can play anywhere in the infield, and do a good job for you. I think if you were to ask Bloomquist what position are you probably the best, it might be second base. I mean, that's what he played a lot in the minor leagues. But certainly enough talent that he can you can put him just about anywhere.
One and 2 on the man when he was at Boston. It was called the Belleville Blaster from Belleville, Illinois, which is right across the Mississippi from St. Louis. Change off the end of the bat. Double play ball. There's 1. And finally they get 2. And that's one they almost messed up. But they got away with. 6, 4, 3. And the inning is over. Watch this one. Little trouble getting it out of his glove. Mike Morse, but they still turned it. And the inning is over. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score. No score moving to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Don't forget, it's Youth Baseball Day here at Safeco Field tomorrow as the Mariners wrap up this series with the Mets at 105. All the kids receiving a great Adrian Beltre cap, courtesy of Virginia Mason and the Mariners. Good seats are still available throughout through the Mariners ticket exchange at SeattleMariners.com. Quite a sight, huh? Look at the sun setting in the west, sparkle off the water out there. Beautiful sight you only see here in the Pacific Northwest, at least from the ballpark. Here is Jeremy Reed. Reed first ball swinging in the 1st inning, rolled out to second, takes a strike 0-1. There's a base hit right up the middle. That breaks an 0 for 10 for Jeremy Reed.
Look at it one more time. Won that ball down low and outside. Got it down low, but had too much of the plate. And Jeremy Reed sent it right back up the middle. Leadoff single. Let's see if the Mariners can do something with it.
A bunt up the first baseline. I don't know if he's sacrificing there or not, Red.
Well, he may have done that on his own. I can understand the bunt, but if you're going to push it that firmly toward the first baseman, then it's going to be an easy play for the first baseman to feel it and go down to second base for the force out. So you don't accomplish anything. Maybe he was trying to push it to the second baseman and get it past the first baseman.
Shows the bunt, takes low. This kid's just 21. And he kind of jabs at this.
Well, one of the things you have to find out as a manager, what players can and cannot do. And the good managers, once they find out, don't ever ask a player to do something that he can't. I don't know how many times in Lopez's career that he's been asked to bunt.
And a fly ball into shallow right, and a sprint and a miss out there by Victor Diaz. So on his way to third is Jeremy Reed. Standing at second base with a bloop double is Jose Lopez. He had a mile to come and he couldn't get to it. A bloop double. Now the Mariners are in business with two in scoring position and nobody out.
Long way to go for Diaz. That ball was just kind of sailing away from him. And obviously could not get to it in time. Reed around to third. To second goes Lopez. Mariners have something going here.
And Michael Morse will be the hitter. And the Mets conceding a run here, playing back for an out. Morse struck out in the second. Strike one. This looks like a riding fastball. That's his best fastball tonight. That was 91.
Morris also had a good cut at that fastball.
Be aware of the change here.
Well, right now Pedro can do anything he wants to. He's ahead the count 0-2. Do you want to go for the strikeout, or you want to try to miss up there at the plate and see if the hitter goes after the ball?
Hard stuff and a ground ball right back up the middle, and is smothered at second base by Anderson. But the Mariners get a run, and they put another runner at third base in Jose Lopez. How about Michael Morse?
Now he has a 5-game hitting streak going. That ball right back up the middle, and Pedro a little bit upset with himself that he didn't make the play. Look at it again.
Great stop at second base by Anderson, and that saved a run. Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, was on his way out with Willie Randolph, the manager, to see if Pedro's all right. Pedro says, look, forget it, I'm fine.
But Dave, look at this. It's the young players that have done it here in the inning. Reed, Lopez, and Morris.
And there's a line drive into the gap in right center field, and that baby's going to pick up another run. Mike Morse on his way to third. It is 2-0. Into second base with a sliding RBI double is Dave Hansen. And Dave Hansen is 2 for 2.
Well, we said that this afternoon Dave Hansen was swinging the bat extremely well in batting practice. Now 2 for 2, picks up an RBI. Nice easy stroke that time by the veteran Hansen.
4 consecutive hits for the Mariners. The throw going to third, there is no way they could have gotten Mike Morse. Throw should have gone to second. So here's Pat Borders now. And Patrick taking a strike on the outside corner. Eight hits off Pedro Martinez. Two strikes. Just outside. Two-year-old catcher battling him and fouls it away. Last time the Mariners faced Pedro, last May, they took a 4-1 lead off of him, only to see it melt. And now they have a 2-0 lead here in the fourth. Ball was hanging in there.
How about that? The most hits given up this year. The Mariners with 8 hits off of Pedro.
And we're in the fourth with nobody out. And that was over his shoulders. And down he goes on strikes. Looked to me like Pat was going to swing anything around the plate that time.
Couldn't tell whether he's trying to hold up, swing at it, or what.
I think he was trying to get out of the way of it.
Well, it might have been that too. But the bat went around, and that's all the umpire is looking at.
Now they will bring the infield up with Ichiro at the plate. Even with the infield in, Ichiro might bunt. Even with the infield in, he's such a good bunter.
I think the Mariners would prefer to see him
swing away.
Swing the bat, though.
Little foul. One thing the Mariners are doing is making Pedro get that pitch count up. There it is right there. 70 pitches with only 1 man down in the 4th inning. He is accustomed to getting into the 7th inning. But the Mariners making him labor here.
53 of those 70 pitches, though, have been strikes. But you're right, that's what you mentioned. Try to get the pitch count up and hopefully force the Mets to go to the bullpen.
Those are two huge men out there in scoring position. Because 2 in with runners at second and third, nobody out, now 1 out. And pull foul. Pedro, of course, getting his ring for the championship last year while in that Red Sox uniform. And Ichiro pops it up into shallow left field. A long run for Cliff Floyd. He's there. Everybody has to hold. Ichiro can't get it deep enough. So Randy Wynn will be asked to deliver the 2-out trick here. Ron Hassey, the man running the show down there, at least for television's sake. You never know what's coming down the hallway.
Well, you never know what's down underneath.
And a high chopper over the mound, headed into center field. It's into center field. The Mariners get those 2 in. How about Randy Wynn and clutch hitting? It's 4-0. It looked like Pedro was going to get off the hook, giving up only 2, and Wynn chops it right over the mound to pick up 2 more. My, oh my, what a clutch hit for Randy Wynn.
And maybe things are starting to turn around for the Mariners. They're now 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The last couple of nights, they have really improved. But there's that big bouncer back up the middle between Reyes and Anderson. 2 more RBIs for Randy Wynn, and this inning's not over just yet.
So it's 4-0, and Raul the hitter. And there goes the runner Wynn, and it's popped up off the third base side, and it is going into the stands. David Wright, I hope he's all right.
He caught it.
He caught the ball. David Wright makes an amazing catch as he dives into the stands, and he's hurt. Looks to me like he hurt himself. But that is the 3rd out. Have another look at it as he just makes a Derek Jeter type dash to the wall and then a leap into the stands and comes up with it and falls back into the stands right onto the chair. Wow, that's got to hurt your ribs. The Mariners get 4, however, and they finally have the lead against Pedro Martinez. After 4, it's 4-0 Mariners.
And Franklin's starts this year, you'd have to go back to his last, well, let's see, with Boston, that he was given 6 runs in that game, and then Kansas City was given 8 runs, and that's about the only runs that he's had this year on which to work.
1-1 to count on Mikiewicz. Toward the hole, backhanded there nicely by David, and the great lead throw right on the money to Ryan Franklin. Hansen had to get something on the throw and made a great lead throw.
Good play by Ryan Franklin. Look at this right here. Hansen going after the ball. Nice play there. And then the throw, and then Frankie having to extend to get it. And some nice little footwork to go along with it.
So 2 down. And Victor Diaz is the hitter. Diaz swings right through a fastball. Diaz had the base hit in the third. A sellout here tonight, 45,841. Fourth sellout of the year here at Safeco Field. Chase the breaking ball. 0-2.
Only 66 pitches thrown by Ryan.
And that's on the outside corner. See you later, Victor Diaz. So the momentum now is certainly in the Mariners' corner. 3 up and 3 down. And halfway through this one, they lead it 4-0.
And welcome back to Safeco Field as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Mariners lead the Mets by a score of 4-0. Hi again, everybody. Rick Riz along with David Henderson and Hendu. Ryan Franklin pitching a heck of a game and key hits for him there in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, something different too, that the Mariners are scoring a few runs for Ryan Franklin. Normally there's zeros on the board when Ryan Franklin pitches, but Pedro giving up 4, giving the Mariners a lot of hope.
Willie Bloomquist leading off the bottom of the 5th inning with ball 1 from Pedro. You're right, the Mariners made him work in the bottom of the 4th inning, and it was the kids that got things going. Jeremy Reed, Jose Lopez, and Mike Morse. The big hit by Dave Hansen to drive in a run, and then the 2-out 2-run single by Randy Wynn. Foul tipped into the glove of catcher Mike Piazza, and the count is 1-2 on Willie Bloomquist. Pedro Martinez has thrown 78 pitches. Ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The numbers for this guy have been absolutely phenomenal down through the years. 7-1 this year with a 2.56 ERA in 13 starts. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So 1 away for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, Pedro, for his career against the Mariners, look at that record, 13-0 with a 1.30 ERA, 130 strikeouts, only 24 walks. Last start May 28th, gave up 4 runs in 7 innings. Jeremy Reed takes a breaking ball low and inside, ball 1. So the Mariners looking for their first win ever against Pedro Martinez.
Well, as we look at those numbers, it reminds me of Pedro's fastball. His fastball used to be 95 to 97 miles an hour. He's only thrown 88, 89, 90 miles an hour here. So that we always talk about the separation from a fastball to a changeup. That affects your other pitches. You can wait a little longer for the changeup. The breaking ball, you can wait a little longer. So it's not the Pedro of old. It's a new Pedro.
Not throwing quite as hard. And it's outside for ball 3. 3-0 the count on Jeremy Reed. And on deck for the Mariners, second baseman Jose Lopez. Down and in, ball 4. So Reed walks. That's the first walk given up by Pedro Martinez. 1 on, 1 away. A 4-0 Mariner lead. And here's Lopez, who had that bloop double down the right field line beyond the reach of a sliding Victor Diaz. That put runners on at second and third.
Well, that's reaching a little bit for Pedro too. He's averaged 1.6 walks this year, so he doesn't walk people, and especially just leading off the inning. Usually those walks come when there's guys second and third, you have a base open. So Pedro is a strike thrower.
Jose Lopez, only his second game since coming up from AAA Tacoma. 1 for 2 tonight with that bloop double. He was 2 for 4 last night with a run batted in. He had surgery to repair and remove the hamate bone in his left hand. The surgery back on March the 29th, was out for a while, played in only 11 games with Tacoma. There goes the runner Reed. Line drive caught by Minkiewicz at first. Steps on the bag for the unassisted double play, and that will end the inning after 5 innings of play. Mariners lead the Mets 4-0. Well, every Sunday is a Senior Sunday here at Safeco Field. Seniors age 60 and over can purchase View Reserve seats for only $10. Senior Sundays are brought to you by Leisure Care. Coming out to the ballpark tomorrow to see the Mariners take on the Mets. For tickets, visit SeattleMariners.com. And remember, tomorrow a very special day for all you dads. Marlon Anderson leading off the top of the 6th inning. The Mets and the Mariners tonight, game 2 of the 3-game series. Mariners lead by a score of 4-0. Breaking ball is low. Ball 2-0. Marlon Anderson, a pinch hitter late in last night's ball game, struck out. He was thrown out by home plate umpire Dan Ayasanga. Dale Scott, the plate umpire tonight, threw out Richie Sexton and manager Mike Hargrove in the first inning. Ball 3, 3 balls and no strikes.
And it might have done a lot of good because there was a couple of questionable calls. Ichiro the first pitch of the ball game.
Right.
Randy wins first strike.
Sexton.
And of course Sexton's ball low and away. So you have to establish a strike zone with the umpire the right way. And sometimes if you're Hargrove, you have to take to the limit to fight for the guys that are coming up next. Get kicked out of the game. Let that umpire know, Dale Scott, that, hey, I just want the plate fair. I don't want it one way or the other, just fair.
Pedro's tough enough.
Yeah, just because Pedro's out there, don't give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him the borderline pitches.
And a strike on Anderson, and the count is full at 3-2. Mike went out there to try to save Richie Sexton, but he was ejected before Mike could get out there. Then Mike was thrown out.
Well, I know how Richie feels. He says, hey, I can't hit these pitches off the plate down on my shins.
Popped up and out of play. The count is still full on Anderson at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So, I mean, these guys were fired up right at the start of this ball game. The key tonight has been Ryan Franklin. What a job he's done this evening against the Mets. He's given up only 3 hits. And then going after Pedro for those 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Mariners have made him work. Out of play on the third base side, and the count is still 3-2 on Anderson. We have seen some very good defense tonight. Play by Willie Bloomquist at third to get a runner at second base. Randy Wynn's throw to get David Wright at third base, where Mike Piazza could not score before that third out was recorded at third base back in the 2nd inning. David Wright diving into the seats for a catch. Popped up shallow left field. Randy Wynn is over in plenty of time and makes the catch. 1 away. Brings up shortstop Jose Reyes. So Dave Hansen, who started the night off at third base, is over at first base when Richie was thrown out of the ball game. Dave Hansen made that nice play over at first base on the ground ball to his right, and he fired the throw to Ryan Franklin.
Yeah, and don't forget Michael Morrissey up the middle play where he flipped it to Lopez for the force out.
Fly ball left center field. Jeremy Reed is there, and he's got it 2 away. 7 in a row retired by Ryan Franklin. 2 outs for the Mets here in the 6th. Brings up center fielder Carlos Beltran. 76 pitches for Franklin. Not that many with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Ryan has retired the side in order in 3 of the last 5 innings, and he's got 2 quick outs here in the 6th. Beltran has grounded out twice. To Hansen at first, but a fly ball straight away center field. Jeremy Reed is there to make the catch, and another 1-2-3 inning, the 4th for Ryan Franklin. We go to the bottom of the 6th here at Safeco Field. Mariners 4, the Mets nothing. Mariners 4 and the Mets nothing to the bottom half of the 6th inning. We want to say a special hello to all our armed forces around the globe. A chance to watch this telecast on Armed Forces Television, being televised to most of the bases around the globe. So we wish you all the best, the men and women of our armed forces around the world. Shortstop Mike Morse leading off the bottom of the 6th inning with a foul back and out of play, and the count is 0-1. Pedro Martinez. Walk ratio, look at that, 18 walks, 112 strikeouts. Up and in on Morse for ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike. 18 walks for the season. Leads the National League in strikeouts. 6 strikeouts per every walk on the year. 2-1 is pretty good. This is 6-1.
Well, the Mariners don't care about that. They're hitting 400 off of them in this ball game.
That's all they care about right now. They got the base hits when it counted in the 4th. How about this kid right here? Mike Morris, 1 for 2 tonight. He's hitting .417. Breaking ball for a strike, and the count goes to 2-2. Royce Ring, left-hander, down to the bullpen for the Mets. Way up and outside. Ball 3. Full count 3-2. Pedro's record here at Safeco Field prior to tonight's game, he was 6-0 with a 0.77 ERA. As you take a look at Dave Hansen on deck tonight, he's given up 4 runs on 9 base hits. Strike 3 called. Mike Morris is caught looking. So another strikeout for Pedro. He has 6 of the ball game. 1 out for the Mariners here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Mariners lead 4-0. The batter is first baseman Dave Hansen. Hansen 2 for 2. A couple of singles, a run scored, and a run batted in, and a heads-up play to get into second base on that base hit into right center field. That was a key play. Victor Diaz got to that ball in right center, Henry. We tried to get Mike Morris at third base, didn't have much of a chance, and Hansen wound on him second. Then the Mets infield had to come in close for a play at the plate. One and one.
No, that's something they teach you in the minor leagues. Always protect that 90 feet, especially if you don't have a chance to throw somebody out. Throw the ball in the second base. Give your pitcher a chance to get the double play.
Outside. Ball 2. 2-1 on Hansen.
I remember the days when Pedro used to get into trouble. Guys in scoring position, he would reach back. I mean, he reached back to 95, 97 miles an hour and crank it up a notch. Can't do that anymore.
Fly ball right center field. Beltran going back. And Carlos is there to make the catch. So 2 outs for the Mariners here in the 6th. Yeah, Pedro would cruise along 92, 92, 92. All of a sudden he could reach back, go bam, 97. He also had that great changeup and the slider. Sometimes he didn't have to use his breaking ball until the 5th inning.
Yeah, those days are over for Pedro.
Here's catcher Pat Borders. Pat 0 for 2. At the knees for a strike. 0-1. Pedro signing as a free agent with the Mets December 16th of last year. And a swing and a miss, and the count is 0-2 after a tremendous run with the Boston Red Sox. He was 16-9 last year, his final year in Boston. He won 2 of his 3 Cy Young awards with the Red Sox, and a swing and a miss by Borders for strike 3, and that'll end the inning. As we go to the top half of the 7th, Mariners lead the Mets 4-0. Well, behind the pitching of Ryan Franklin, the Mariners lead the Mets by a score of 4-0. Top half of the 7th inning, and Franklin will take a look at Cliff Floyd, Mike Piazza, and Brian Daubach. Ryan Franklin is going to have to stay with that the beard. If he keeps pitching like this, he's going to look like Grizzly Adams.
And I think you got to give Pat Borders a little bit more credit than we have, because early in this ball game he established the fastball. Pat Borders is a catcher that throws a little bit more fastballs than Rivera or the other catchers, and he throws a fastball when the hitter's kind of thinking, I've seen a lot of fastballs. When they're going to throw me a breaking ball or something on speed. Keep pumping that fastball in, out, up.
Cliff Floyd leading off the 7th inning. Line drive, center field, hard hit, but right at Reed, and in his tracks makes the catch. Floyd smoked it, but right at Reed. 1 out for the Mets here in the 7th inning. And for Ryan Franklin, that is 9 in a row retired by Ryan. Getting back to Pat Borders. When Borders catches, team ERA is 3.18. It's all about what you said, throwing a lot of fastballs, but also about the pace of the game. He gets these guys in a pretty good groove and keeps them there. 0-1 the count on Mike Piazza. And it's 0-2.
Simple philosophy. 2 fastballs on the outside corner. Nobody on base. The worst he can do is get a base hit to right, double right center. So keep pumping it in there.
And that's where Borders sets up. And a little chopper past the mound, charging the shortstop Mike Morse. And the flip to first in time to get Mike Piazza. So 2 down for the Mets here in the 7th. That is 10 in a row retired by Mr. Franklin. Last base hit was the leadoff single by Cliff Floyd in the 4th. Here's designated hitter Brian Daubach. Mariners shut out the Mets last night 5-0 behind the pitching of Jamie Moyer, who went 7 2/3 innings, and Jeff Nelson, who picked up his first save of the year. There's a look at Pedro inside on Daubach, ball 1. Down and away, ball 2. Brian Daubach coming up a few days ago from AAA Tidewater. He was with the Red Sox last year, batted .227, a couple of home runs, 8 runs batted in. Little low, ball 3, 3-0.
Jeremy Reed took a peek. This ball going off his glove, off the wall, and it's one of those things where he didn't quite get there. And once you make the commitment to go for the ball, it's going to hit the wall, goes off. You hold him to 3 right there as a center fielder. Don't give him the inside the Parker.
So David Wright is on at third base, and Doug Minkiewicz takes a strike 0-1. Minkiewicz was the one that had that base hit down the left field line where Wright was thrown out at third before Mike Piazza could score a run for the Mets. That was recorded before Piazza could score. 0-2 the count of Minkiewicz. David Wright on at third base. 4-1. Mariners lead the Mets. Up and away, 1-2. Brad Porter says, get it down here. And he does. He bounces it. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Oh, we know how important 2-out base hits are. Randy Wynn got his and added those extra 2 runs on Pedro. And, of course, Ryan Franklin trying to stop this 2-out base hit right here.
And a fastball runs it up and in. Ball 3. Full count, 3-2. On deck for the Mets, right fielder Victor Diaz. Fouled out of play on the left field side, and the count is still 3-2. Ryan Franklin, his 13th start of the season, 15th appearance. Remember, he began the year down in the bullpen, made 2 relief appearances. He's looking for his first win since May the 8th when he beat the Boston Red Sox 6-4. The 3-2 pitch. Fastball, strike 3, called on the inside corner. That'll end the inning. Mets get 1 run on 1 hit, and they leave a runner stranded at third. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Mariners 4 and the Mets 1. Mariners leading the Mets by a score of 4-1. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Safeco Field, with the first 25,000 fans this Tuesday receive a limited edition statue of Ken Griffey Jr. courtesy of FSN. Come see the Mariners take on Eric Chavez and the Oakland A's. Plus, take home this special piece of Mariners history. Tickets are available at SeattleMariners.com/95. Rick Riz along with David Henderson. We've got a new pitcher for the Mets. Royce Ring will take over in relief for Pedro Martinez. So the Mariners get into the Mets bullpen.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to do. And of course, Royce was recalled from Norfolk on that June 2nd AAA. That's why he's only got 5 appearances in the high ERA. 2 strikeouts, 3 base on balls, just getting into the act in the Mets bullpen.
Here is Ichiro to lead things off, and he takes a strike from Ring. 0-1. Pedro, not the Pedro of old that we saw tonight, that we've seen for years with the Boston Red Sox. Martinez threw 99 pitches tonight. The 9 hits allowed, the most in a game this season. Tied for the second most allowed runs this year with 4.
Well, you called it early in the ball game. It has to average out sooner or later, the dominance that Pedro had against the Mariners.
I mean, the law of averages have to get you once in a while, don't you?
Yeah, a bloop here, a base hit there, a ball that finds a hole. He gives up 4 runs. The guy's human. I told you he was.
Didn't pitch like it. But tonight he did. Swing and a miss by Ichiro. Went fishing for that one. Strike 3 and 1 out for the Mariners here in the 7th inning. So Pedro wins 6, gave up 4 runs on 9 hits. He walked 1 and he struck out 7. Royce, Ring on in relief. Here's Randy Wynn, who came up with that big hit with 2 outs to drive in 2 of the Mariners' 4 runs in the 4th. Randy 2 for 3 against Pedro Martinez. And he was the one guy in this lineup that had a decent average, a good average against Pedro, 304. 0-1 the count on Randy. So the Mariners made Pedro work through a lot of pitches. 1-1. Ron Hassey take it over the ball club. Mike Hargrove ejected from this game at the bottom of the 1st inning when Richie Sexson was ejected, arguing strike 3 with home plate umpire Dale Scott.
That might have set the tone for the whole ball game, and Pedro wasn't going to get the borderline pitches off the plate or below the knees, and they let Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, know that early.
Outside on Randy, ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And strike 3 calls as plate umpire Dale Scott. So back-to-back strikeouts for Royce Ring in relief. 2 down for the Mariners here in the 7th. Mariners lead 4-1, and here's Raul Ibanez. Ibanez is 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Mariners have turned things around here at home. First 21 games at home, they were 7-14. The last 11 games, they are 9-2 at home. Fouled away by Ibanez, and the count is 0-1. Averaging 4.5 runs a game, hitting .280 as a team. But the thing that really stands out has been the pitching, especially the starting pitching right now. A 2.51 ERA over the last 11 games at home. And it's 0-2 on Ibanez. One ball and 2 strikes. Big sweeping curveball is low and outside. Ball 2, 2-2.
Now you can see how Ring will be very tough on left-handed hitters. He throws a kind of a 3/4 delivery with a big breaking ball. It gives you a lot of time to bail out on that pitch.
And that one's behind Raul all the way to the backstop. Full count 3-2.
Whoops.
Just a bit inside.
Slipped out of his hand a little bit, a breaking ball. And that's why if you're lefty against lefty, that front shoulder wants to dive out of there when that ball's coming at you. You haven't decided if it's going to break or not.
Pitching coach Rick Peterson looking on for the Mets. And fouled away, still 3-2. On deck, new third baseman Willie Bloomquist. Fouled off again, still 3-2.
Yeah, I haven't figured out if baseball players are smart or dumb, because they stand there and wait for that ball to break, and if it doesn't break, it hits them, and then if it does break, they swing and miss it. So I don't know how smart baseball players, me included, how smart we are.
Yeah, you're in that fraternity. And it's down and away for ball 4. So Raul Ibanez with a walk with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Mariners leading the Mets 4-1, and the batter is Willie Bloomquist. Well, Handy, it's always been and always will be a chess match. You're trying to figure out what the pitcher is trying to throw. He's trying to figure out what you're thinking, and you're trying to figure out what he's thinking. Sometimes you're not on the same wavelength, and oops, things like that can happen. Toss to first base. Ibanez back. Ron Vallone, the left-hander, and Julio Mateo, the right-hander, down in the Mariner bullpen. Ball 1 on Willie. Ryan Franklin has pitched a heck of a game tonight.
He's focused right there, still mentally prepared to go in the ball game.
Fly ball into right field. Diaz started in, but now goes back, and Victor is there to make the catch for out number 3. And we go to the top half of the 8th. It's the Mariners 4 and the Mets 1. 4-1. Mariners lead the Mets as we head to the top half of the 8th inning. Well, make plans now to bring your group to Safeco Field this summer for lots of fun in the sun with the Mariners. There's plenty of game dates featuring specially priced $10 tickets for groups of 40 or more. For more information, call 206-346-4001 this week during regular business hours. One of the many ferries going across Elliott Bay. Swing and a foul back by Victor Diaz, leading off the 8th. Ryan Franklin, very tough tonight here in start number 13. One and one. .97 pitches for Franklin, 62 strikes, good ratio, 32 balls. Check swing. Did he go? He did not. He appealed down to Tim Sheeta, the umpire, first. Ball 2, 2-1 as Mateo and Vallone continue to warm up down in the bullpen. We got Anderson due up next, and then Jose Reyes. Ron Hesse looking on. Out of play on the first base side, and the count evens up on Diaz at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Diaz getting the start in right field. Mike Cameron, formerly with the Mariners, still out of the lineup for the Mets with that sore right quad. Brought up the lineup card prior to last night's ball game. And strike 3 call. Ryan Franklin strikes out Victor Diaz looking. Strikeout number 4 for Ryan. 1 out for the Mets here in the 8th.
Now Ryan Franklin's still pumping in those fastballs late in the ball game, and good control going inside and outside, and that locks up a hitter when you can hit that inside corner.
Good control with his fastball tonight. Marlon Anderson with a big 2-hopper backing up at second base. Jose Lopez, and he gets Anderson at first. So 2 down for the Mets here in the 8th. Ryan Franklin has retired 13 of the last 15 batters he's faced. So 2 down for the Mets. Mariners lead 4-1, and the batter is shortstop Jose Reyes. So Hendui's been very aggressive all night long, going right after these Met hitters.
Yeah, with good movement on his fastball, just moving it in and out, letting the defense work.
Reyes with a strike, 0-1. Ryan Price on the phone down to the bullpen alongside Ron Hassey.
Telling those guys to shut her down, take it easy, just lob the ball. Ryan Franklin's got this covered.
If you've just tuned in, Ron Hassey taking over the club for tonight's game. Mike Hargrove ejected back in the first inning along with Richie Sexton. 2-1 the count on Reyes.
Looks like Ryan Franklin doesn't need any help getting through this 8th inning, so they tell Valone and Mateo to take it easy, save it for tomorrow.
Cool off. Fly ball right center field and shallow. That's going to drop in, and a base hit for Reyes, so he gets aboard with 2 outs here in the 8th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Seattle Mariners. 1 on, 2 outs for the Mets here in the 8th. The batter is center fielder Carlos Beltran, 0 for 3 last night, 0 for 3 tonight. Ball 1. And time is called as Pat Borders goes out.
The calming effect of Pat Borders talking to Ryan Franklin, letting him know that, okay, hey, you're in the 8th inning. We know that. Carlos Beltran's at the plate. We throw a decent pitch on the outside corner. We can get him out again. No problem.
He's bounced out twice to the first baseman, Sexton in the first, Hansen, who's playing first base, back in the 3rd, and he's also flied out to Reed in center field. And a strike on Beltran, 1-1. So much has been written and said about the lack of run support for Ryan Franklin over the last few years. This year only 5 runs while he's been in the game during his 8 losses. Well, the Mariners have 4 runs for him tonight. Outside on Beltran, ball 2, 2-1.
Yeah, he very seldom on the mound and look up that he's got a 4-run lead, and early in the ball game, especially against a Pedro Martinez. So he was it was Fright Night at the movies for him.
What a night for Ryan. Over to first base to get Reyes back to the bag. 4 runs, 9 hits for the Mariners, all off of Pedro Martinez. 1 run, 5 hits for the Mets. Very good defense by the Mariners tonight. And the great catch by Wright. There's a strike on Beltran, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pat Borders has called a very good game working with Ryan Franklin this evening. Borders stays away on Beltran, and the breaking ball misses down and in for ball 3. Full count, 3-2. With 2 outs, Reyes can take off from first base with this pitch. First 4 innings, no strikeouts, but over the last 3 2/3, 4 strikeouts for Ryan Franklin. On deck, Cliff Floyd. 1 on, 2 outs, top of the 8th. Reyes at first base. Beltran pops it up. Left center field. Randy Winn coming in. He's there and makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left stranded. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the Mariners 4 and the Mets 1. Well, they're waving their towels here at Safeco Field tonight. What a ball game. The Mariners lead the Mets by a score of 4-1 because Ryan Franklin, with an outstanding performance, a sellout crowd here at Safeco for the middle game of this 3-game series. Ryan Franklin, 8 sparkling innings tonight, Hendu.
Well, everybody's talking to him now. Borders, Brian Price, patting him on the back, giving up 1 run over 8 innings. He certainly did the job.
Man.
Shut down this Mets lineup, and you look at the work on his face. He's red. He's got a sweat going.
The short haircut, the beard. Here's Reed sending a ground ball to the second baseman. Charging Anderson, throws to first, but off the glove of Minkiewicz, and Jeremy Reed is safe at first base. Good hustle by Reed, and that's going to be an infield single for Jeremy. Here comes manager Willie Randolph out of the Mets dugout. Royce Ring on a relief took over the 7th inning. Faced 4 batters, had a couple of strikeouts, but it looks like that's going to be it for Ring here in the bottom half of the 8th. Mariners lead the Mets by a score of 4-1. We've got a pitching change coming up, and Heath Bell will take over in relief for New York. We'll be back after this timeout. Inning, 1 out and nobody out. Well, just $10 will get you a great view reserved seat Monday for BECU Family Night as the Mariners host the Oakland A's. Tuesday is FSN Ken Griffey Jr. Collectible Statue Night, and Thursday is a U.S. Bank Mariner Matinee at 1:35. Visit SeattleMariners.com for tickets. Jeremy Reed led off the bottom of the 8th inning with an infield base hit. Here's a look at it one more time, Hendu.
Look at the ball. It hits right on the lip of the plate, and that slows it down a bit, and that throws the timing off from Marlon Anderson coming in that ball. He thought it was going to get to him a little quicker. He took 2 or 3 more steps, and that made it into a very tough play. Bang, bang at first base, and that's why he threw the ball away. The timing of the play was off.
High throw off the glove of Minkiewicz, and Jeremy Reed on at first base with the infield single. Heath Bell is the new pitcher for the Mets to face Jose Lopez. Jeremy back to the bag.
And I think the good thing about this is Heath Bell, our young kids could care less who he is. When Lopez, Morris, and those guys, they don't care. They just coming up here swinging that ball, see ball, swing at ball.
And it was the kids, the group of kids, Reed, Lopez, and Morris, that got things going against Pedro. Bunted ball up the first base line. Taken by Minkiewicz, puts the tag on Lopez, and the sacrifice will get Reed down to second base. Back in the 4th inning, Reed singled. Lopez had the bloop double. Mike Morris had the RBI single up the middle underneath the glove of Pedro Martinez. So it was the youngsters who got the ball rolling for the Mariners offensively in that 4th.
Well, they didn't care about the reputation of Pedro Martinez coming into this ball game. They just wanted to go out and play baseball.
Now the Mariners looking for another run here in the 8th. They lead 4-1. Here are the numbers for Bell.
You look at the 4.39 ERA, 26 2/3. The big numbers: 27 strikeouts, only 6 base on ball.
Mike Morse takes ball 1. Eddie Guardano down to the bullpen. He'll be going into that trance pretty soon. He just visualizes
his breathing.
And a strike on the outside corner. 1-1 the count on Morse. And he has a routine that he goes through each and every time since he started it in junior college. Mike 1 for 3, the RBI single, and scored a run in the 4th. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. The appeal down to Tim Sheeta, the umpire at first base. And the count is 1-2. Eddie just getting ready mentally more than anything right now.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be down there pumping fastballs, trying to throw it through a brick wall, but Eddie doesn't get saves, 18 of them like that. He throws a few pitches, gets mentally ready.
All the way up the first base side, and the count is still 1-2. Jeremy Reed on at second after the sacrifice bunt by Jose Lopez. And on deck for the Mariners, Dave Hansen. One thing that's been impressive about Mike Morris, his command of the outside corner, his ability to leave some tough pitches alone that are a little bit off the plate. Ground ball out to the second baseman, Marlon Anderson. And 2 outs for the Mariners here in the 8th inning. And on the play, Reed will go to third. And then the ability for Mike to, when a pitch is on the outside corner, Hindu, drop a base hit into right field.
And I think even if the pitcher runs the ball in on him on the inside corner, he can fight it up the middle with that inside out swing. And especially with 2 strikes, that's very important. It makes you wait a little longer. You don't swing at pitches off the plate like a young hitter, most young hitters do.
Here's Dave Hansen. Dave is 2 for 3. A couple of singles, a run scored, and a run batted in. Keith Bellhine in relief for Royce Ring here in the 8th. Mariners lead 4-1. Ball 2. Eddie just thinking things over. His routine hasn't changed in a long time.
Now they decide to put Dave Hansen on now behind the count, looking at Borders on deck.
New manager Willie Randolph says put him on. That's what they'll do. There is ball 3. So Hansen will get the intentional pass right here. And they'll work to Pat Borders with runners on at first and third. Willie Randolph taking over the New York Mets. And there's ball 4. So Dave Hansen with the walk. He's on at first. Jeremy Reed is on at third base with 2 outs. And here's Pat Borders.
Now Willie Randolph knows that you can't pitch hit for Borders right now. He's catching a great ball game. He knows what the hitters have done through the whole game, and you don't want to change that. He knows how to get him out now, so it's more important that Borders is in the ball game for the 9th inning than him getting a base hit right now.
Reed on at third. Dave Hansen on at first base. Let's see if Borders tries to jump on a first pitch fastball. There it is, but it's outside. Ball 1. Pedro Martinez started tonight, went 6 innings and gave up 4 runs on 9 base hits. Fouled away up the first base side, and the count even on Borders at 1 ball and 1 strike.
The most hits he's allowed all year, and that's unbelievable for me, because pitchers do have bad ball games where a blooper here, one off the end of the bat, a swinging bunt, things like that. So it's unbelievable.
9 hits tonight off of Pedro in 6 innings. Check swing. Pitches outside. Did it go? Yes, he did. The appeal down to Tim Sheeta again, and Borders can't believe it, and the count goes to 1-2 on Pat.
Now look at see if he broke those wrists. Went past the plate. Pretty close. Looks like a swing to me.
Up and away. Ball 2. 2-2 the count. But it's how far you take that bat across the plate, and the base umpire has a chance to look at it. 2 on 2 outs. Reed at third, Hansen at first base. And a breaking ball for strike 3. And that will retire the side. Mariners leave a couple, but we go to the top half of the 9th. Behind the pitching of Ryan Franklin, the Mariners lead the Mets 4-1. And here comes Eddie Guardado. To the top half of the 9th inning, the Mariners lead the Mets by a score of 4-1, and veteran left-hander Eddie Guardado will take over in relief.
Now look at those sparkling numbers. 18 saves, a 1.44 ERA in 25 innings. You see the 21 strikeouts. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but he doesn't walk anybody. Only 5 base on balls all year.
Eddie Guardado has 13 straight scoreless appearances going back to May the 4th. He has converted his last 17 save opportunities. He has retired 32 of the last 34 batters that he's faced. He is tied for the league high in saves with 18, along with Joe Nathan of the Minnesota Twins. So yes, another save opportunity, a 3-run lead, 4-1. Top of the 9th inning, and Eddie will take a look at Cliff Floyd, Mike Piazza, and Brian Daubach, the middle third of the order for new manager Willie Randolph's New York Mets. Eddie's always said the key to being a closer, retire that first guy. Get the first guy. And throw strikes. Cliff Floyd is the first guy. Down and away. Ball 1. Floyd 1 for 3 with a single to right field back in the 4th. Ryan Franklin gave up only 5 hits in 8 innings tonight. Swing and a miss by Floyd, and the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. What a performance by Ryan Franklin this evening. 8 innings, gave up only 5 hits, 1 run. He walked 3, struck out 4. 1-1 the count on Floyd. Mariners shut out the Mets last night by a score of 5-0 behind Jamie Moyer's performance. 7 2/3 innings. Jeff Nelson 1 1/3. Fouled away off the mask of Pat Borders, and the count is 1-2 on Floyd. And the Mariners tonight are looking for their very first win against Pedro Martinez, who came in 13-0 against the Mariners. His lifetime mark against Seattle. Pedro wins 6 innings tonight for the Mets. The 1-2 to Floyd. Ball 2, 2-2. Ron Hassey taking over as the skipper in this game with Mike Hargrove's ejection back in the 1st inning, and a swing and a miss by Floyd. Strike 3, so 1 out for the Mets here in the 9th.
Well, the Mariners pitching staff really taking it to this Mets lineup, not giving up anything. Jamie Moore last night, and the starting 5 have been pitching brilliantly the last 5 starts. It's just one of those things where it grows. It becomes like a fever through the starting rotation. These guys are throwing up zeros, giving up 1 run, giving up 2 runs. Anytime a starting staff does that, you got a great chance to win ball games.
Mike Piazza with a swing and a miss. 0-1 the count on the Met catcher. Well, pitching contagious like hitting is contagious, and the pitching has been tremendous in June for the Mariners. A 2.93 ERA in the month of June. Fouled away by Piazza. The count is 0-2. And that number is going to get lower. That's the best ERA in the major leagues for June. Mariners starters in the last 8 games 4-1 with a 1.54 ERA. And that's going to go down. 1-2 on Piazza. Line drive caught by the second baseman, Jose Lopez. 2 outs for the Mets here in the 9th. Mike Piazza lines out. So 2 down, and that'll bring up Brian Daubach. Now we can have a pinch hitter.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Woodard is going to pinch hit for Brian Daubach, and you bring in the right-handed hitter. Give yourself a chance. You have a few bullets left on that bench. You have to empty the gun if you're Willie Randolph.
2 up and 2 down for Eddie Guardado. Here in the top of the 9th inning, the Mariners lead the Mets 4-1. So Chris Woodward out to pinch hit for Brian Daubach. And a strike, 0-1. Eddie Guardado, a strike throwing machine, just pounds away at that outside corner at the knees. Sellout crowd. They have been into this one since the 1st inning. The 0-1, and it's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to count.
Well, you're seeing some superb baseball played by the Mariners. Great defense, superb pitching, and of course they put enough runs on the board to win.
Soft fly ball into shallow right center. That's in there for a base hit. So Chris Woodward with a pinch hit single with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. 4-1 Mariners, and the batter is third baseman David Wright, who drove in the Mets' only run in this game with 2 outs. He tripled off the wall in straightaway center field, and that scored Brian Daubach in the 7th inning. That was the only run that starter Ryan Franklin gave up tonight. Eddie Guardado trying to wrap it up. A strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Guardado struck out Cliff Floyd. Mike Piazza lined out to Jose Lopez. And strike 2 call. Again on the outside corner at the knees. Sellout crowd, 45,841 here at Safeco Field. And they have seen a dandy of a ball game. 0-2 is just outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Wright. Guardado trying to put a ball on this one. The 1-2 misses. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Everybody on their feet. Story of this ball game, the pitching of Ryan Franklin. 8 innings, gave up only 1 run. Eddie Guardado looking for his league high 19th save. On a play in the first base side, and it's still 2-2 on Wright. Mariners have been winning series. They have won 7 of the last 10 series. And with a win tonight, they would make it 8 of their last 11. The 2-2. Fouled away off the screen behind the plate, and the count stays the same on David Wright.
They want that last strike, Rick. They want to just jump out of those seats and applaud these Mariners for this win.
And again, the 2-2 is way up and outside for ball 3. Full count 3-2. On deck is Doug Minkiewicz. Woodward will take off over at first base with 2 outs with a count full on David Wright. Runner goes. And a foul ball out of play in the first base side, and it's still 3-2. Tough hitter right here, and this kid David Wright came into the ball game hitting .298. He had 3 hits last night, 1 tonight, 1 for 2. The 3-2 fouled away again by Wright. A 9-pitch at bat for David Wright. And he keeps going, attacking that right side of the plate, the outside corner. Woodward goes, and a pop-up right side of the infield. Jose Lopez is there, and the ball game is over. The Mariners win it, a final score of 4-1, and the Mariners finally defeat Pedro Martinez, their first ever win against Martinez, who is now 13-1 against Seattle. But Ryan Franklin, the story tonight, he gets the win, his 3rd, his first since May the 8th. Eddie Guardado, his 19th save, and that leads the American League. And the Mariners with some clutch base hits, Hendu, in the bottom of the 4th when they scored all 4 of their runs.
And I think the kids came to play. Reed, Lopez, and Morris right down there at the bottom of the lineup. They said Pedro who? They went out there getting base hits, RBIs, and the old reputation of Pedro. I think all these people, the sellout crowd of 45,000 came here to see Pedro get beat, and you just see them jumping up and down saying the Mariners finally beat Pedro 4-1.
So the Mariners over the New York Mets and Pedro Martinez. The Mariners with their 30th win of the year behind the pitching of Ryan Franklin. We'll be back with more after this timeout.